Hello and welcome to your Fantasy Premier League one-stop shop. I'm your host Stephen Gallagher, world number 3 in points totals over the past 3 seasons. Today we're looking at all the key points for Game Week 17, who to buy, who to sell, fixtures to target, captaincy and more. If you're watching on YouTube and have been enjoying the videos, or if this is your first time watching, consider subscribing and dropping a like on the video. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, rate the episode 5 stars if you enjoy. Let's get straight into it, start with some key points for Game Week 17. The first key point is Matheus Cunha. He elbowed the back of an Ipswich staff member's head in the scuffle after the match, so he's been handed a ban, but we don't know how long the ban will be or when the ban will start, and there's still a chance that he plays in Game Week 17. FPL Mark Jobling posted this on Twitter. He says that Kudus had until the 24th of October to respond to his ban, and his ban came on the 6th of November, 13 days later. Similar cases with Gibbs White and Bentancur for their bans, so Cunha might actually be able to play Game Week 17 because he wasn't actually sent off in the match. This is a retrospective ban after they reviewed the footage of his assault on the Ipswich staff member, so if you own Cunha, keep him until we know when his ban will begin. In terms of other suspensions due to red cards and yellow card accumulations, Munoz, ait-nouri, Cucurella, Stevens, Bentancur, Soler, Andreas, Joelinton and Delap are all serving suspensions and will be back in Game Week 18. There's still some confusion around Andy Robertson since he got sent off against Fulham last weekend. His one match ban will be served in the League Cup match against Southampton midweek, so he is actually available for Game Week 17 against Spurs in the Premier League. Another thing to keep an eye on is players close to suspension. These lads have 4 yellow cards, and if they get a 5th before Game Week 19, they serve a one match ban. That's Sanchez, Van Heck, Dunk, Rogers, Kluivert, Vardy, Darwin and Jackson, just to name a few. On to the injury news. I'm recording this Wednesday before the League Cup matches for Arsenal, Palace, Newcastle, Brentford, Southampton, Liverpool, Spurs and Man United, so keep an eye on those games to see who plays or who gets injured. With that being said, for Arsenal, Declan Rice was feeling something according to Arteta, so he'll be assessed before the League Cup match. For Forest, Yates and Murillo are doubts for Game Week 17. For Chelsea, João Felix and Lavia are available for next game week. Chukwuemeka and Chilwell were sick last week. Reece James and Fofana are still out injured, and Badiashile got injured in training, and Mudryk is out too. For Liverpool, Tsimikas is back in training and he's close to playing. Konate and Bradley are still out injured and not back in training yet. For Man United, Mount went off injured against City early on, and Garnacho and Rashford weren't in the squad against City, but they weren't injured. Amrim just didn't select them in the squad for disciplinary reasons. For Newcastle, Botman returned from injury and played for the under-21s. Nick Pope is out for around 4 weeks, with Dubravka replacing him in nets for now. And finally for Spurs, Udogie went off injured against Southampton, but it was just a precaution according to Ange. Next up is defences to target using our fixture difficulty ratings and defensive strength ratings, combining the two so we can rank teams on who is the best combination of defensive fixtures and strength over the next 5 game weeks. Top of the rankings is Chelsea, the best upcoming fixtures according to our models, and a solid defence this season. They were on for a clean sheet against Brentford last weekend, but then conceded to Mbeumo in the last minute. They're still tied 3rd for lowest goals conceded this season, and they now rank 4th for lowest expected goals conceded this season, so definitely a defence worth considering based off this data and based off the upcoming fixtures, and also based off the fact that you can get their defenders for very cheap. Sanchez and Colwill are really good value at their price. Second in the rankings is Liverpool, the best defence in the league this season, most clean sheets, least goals conceded, lowest expected goals conceded. They play Spurs away next, which isn't ideal from a defensive point of view, but nonetheless they're still a great defence to target as they can get a clean sheet against pretty much anyone. In terms of who to get from them, Trent is the best option. He ranks 1st for defenders in expected goal involvement per 90. He's the most attacking defender in the league, playing for the best defence in the league, which is why he costs so much. If you don't have the budget to get him in, Virgil van Dijk is the next best thing. 90 minutes every week. He's the safer pick in terms of minutes, and he's obviously cheaper. He's still a great shout. And then Gomez for his price is another nice punt, but Konate is going to return from injury eventually, so make sure you have a backup plan for Gomez once Konate returns. Third in the rankings is City. They've been really poor defensively recently. They have had some tough fixtures though, and they start to turn here. Although they have been leaking goals, you can't ignore that these fixtures look very appealing. Everton at home, Leicester away, then West Ham at home in game week 18, 19 and 20. I do think a shout for Man City defenders is warranted given these fixtures. Gvardiol and Lewis, the two options for them, and although they are slight minutes risks with Pep Roulette always in play, now could be the time to hop back on those City assets as a nice differential. Fourth in the rankings is Arsenal. They started the season with really poor defensive data. They had a lot of injuries and were picking up a few red cards which didn't help at all. But they have had a massive return to form defensively, and double Arsenal defense is back on the menu well and truly. If you have one of these guys already, consider maybe getting another. My favorite combination right now is Gabriel and Timber, because Gabriel, he has the best goal threat of all the Arsenal defenders, and Timber is the cheapest. Down 10th in the rankings is Fulham. They play Southampton at home this game week and Ipswich at home in game week 20. Then Leicester away in game week 22, which isn't listed here. That would probably put them higher up on the rankings. Robertson is the one to go for from Fulham. He is their most attacking defender, and he picked up 2 assists against Liverpool last game week. As you can see, the Chelsea and Bournemouth fixtures are really dragging down Fulham's fixture difficulty rating, which is fair enough. Chelsea have scored the most goals in the league this season, and Bournemouth rank 4th in the league for XG per 90 over the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal and Aston Villa, which is a crazy stat, so fair play to them. So yeah, there's 2 difficult attacks to come up against for Anthony Robinson, but he definitely does have 2 great fixtures against Southampton and then Ipswich. Ideally, you could rotate him in and out of your defence, which brings us nicely into the next section, which is defender rotations. This is a new section that I'm really excited to show you guys. Some of you probably saw this on my Wildcard video, and Taiba TV requested it in my last video, so here it is, lads. I've run a model that calculates the optimal defender rotations based off the fixed difficulty over the next 5 game weeks. Chelsea and Aston Villa coming out on top, although the model does say you don't need to play the Villa defender until game week 20 and 21, so you can wait to get in a Villa defender until then. If you're going to go for that rotation, I'd go for Colwill and Konsa. Chelsea and Man United in second here, but none of the Man United defenders really appeal to me massively at the moment. I think Amram is still looking for his favourite lineup at the back. In fourth is Man City and Fulham, and I really like this rotation. You get Robinson against Southampton at home this game week. Then in game week 18, Lewis against Everton at home. 19, Lewis against Leicester away. 20, Fulham against Ipswich at home, and then Fulham against Leicester away in 22, which also isn't listed here. Another option here is Lewis and Lewis Hall. The 2 Lewis's rotation, they go together nicely. You can also go for Kirkes and Hall, which is probably my favourite rotation here. 2 really attacking players. You get Hall against Ipswich away this game week, Kirkes against Palace at home, then Fulham away, then Everton at home, and then Hall against Wolves at home. So lots of possible combinations. I can adjust the code to make a 3 defender rotation, even 4 or 5 if you want. One thing I want to do in the new year is to start streaming before the deadline, and I can go through people's teams, see the optimal rotations for their defenses specifically. So let me know if that is something you'd be interested in. Comment down below and drop a like if you're enjoying the video so far. Next up is attacks to target, using the fixture difficulty rankings from an attacking perspective and combining that with the attacking strength of the teams for the next 5 game weeks. First in the rankings is City, and Erling Haaland is back on the menu. He might make us all regret selling him now, and all the FPL managers who kind of stopped playing after the first few game weeks and still have him in their teams, probably left the captaincy on him as well. They might start to creep up the ranks past some of us engaged managers, so keep an eye out for that. I think he actually could become a nice differential if you start captaining him. He plays Everton at home in game week 18, Leicester away in game week 19, West Ham at home in game week 20, and then Brentford away in game week 21. All good fixtures to captain Haaland, honestly, and City can definitely get a result in all of those games. So keep an eye on Haaland over these next few games. I wouldn't necessarily suggest ripping your team apart to get him back in. I know a lot of us have Salah, Palmer, Saka. I wouldn't really want to get rid of any of them for now, but maybe consider it as a nice differential if you need to gain rank on some of the people in your mini league who don't have Haaland. Second in the rankings is Chelsea. Their attack has been so good this season, most goals scored in the league so far. From them, Cole Palmer is the obvious choice. He was quiet against Brentford last game week, but he still came away with a bonus point, which was awarded 2 days after the game. So even when he doesn't get a goal or an assist, he still got a bonus point, which is nice. Nicholas Jackson is the other Chelsea asset to consider. He scored against Brentford. He's been really good value at his price. And with these nice run of fixtures coming up, he's definitely one to look at in your forward line. And then finally, Enzo. He's really found his form and has been getting really involved in the attack for Chelsea, crashing the box and getting on the end of a lot of good chances. I discussed him in my cheap midfielders to target video yesterday, so check that out if you haven't yet. I think he's a really great pick at his price. Third in the rankings is Arsenal. They have some really nice fixtures coming up. Crystal Palace, Ipswich and Brentford in the next 3. All those teams have been conceding a lot of goals, so these Arsenal attackers are in a good spot to get some returns here. Saka is the best asset from them. He takes most of the set pieces, and Arsenal have just been scoring so many goals from set pieces this season, and he's also on penalties from them. A great option for your midfield. And then there's Kai Havertz. I think he is still a good differential for your team. That being said, there are probably better assets in and around his price in the forward line, like Isak and Jackson, but he's still one to consider with these upcoming fixtures for Arsenal. Fourth in the rankings is Liverpool. Mo Salah is the one to go for. He's the best player in the game, worth every penny when he is playing like he is now. Get him in if you haven't already. Then other than Salah, it's very difficult to suggest another Liverpool attacker. I've thrown Jota up here because he finally returned from injury and got a goal against Fulham after getting subbed on. So if he returns to full fitness and starts getting good minutes, we already know Slot prefers him over Darwin because he played most minutes when both of those guys were fit. But Liverpool have so many upcoming fixtures, we just don't know what the rotation will be, and we just expect a lot of rotation in the forward line. Salah is really the only one we can count on for consistent minutes, and Jota is more of a wait and see for now. Fifth in the rankings is Fulham. I discussed both these guys, Raul and Iwobi, in my budget transfers video. I think they're both great picks, really good value and great upcoming fixtures. They play Southampton at home this game week, then Ipswich at home in game week 20, West Ham away in game week 21, and Leicester away in game week 22. If you want to hear more about them, then check them out in my video from yesterday. On to the attacker rotations. There's a lot of Fulham here, as you can see. The model really likes Fulham's upcoming fixtures. The first rotation is Fulham and Crystal Palace. You get some really nice fixtures with that one. And my favourite rotation out of these guys would probably be Iwobi and Sarr, just given their expected data. But Raul is also a really interesting option too. You can also rotate a Fulham player with Bowen at West Ham, but you'd only be playing Bowen in game week 18 and you probably don't want to bench him that often given his price tag. You can rotate a Fulham player with a Brighton player, which I think could be the best one here. You have Fulham v Southampton at home, Brighton v Brentford at home, Fulham v Bournemouth at home, then Ipswich at home, and then Brighton v Ipswich away in 21, and then Fulham versus Leicester away in 22 as well. So that's my favourite of these rotations by far. Fulham also rotate nicely with Ahmed at Man United. You get Wolves at home in 18 and then Southampton at home in 21 with that. So yeah, a lot of great options to choose from here. On to the stats review where we analyse the best performing players statistically in every position. Players in red are the most expensive and in green are the least expensive. For goalkeepers, we're looking at expected goals conceded per 90 against the bonus system per 90. Alisson, the clear outlier here. He's the best pick in terms of the stats, but as you can see by his dark red colour, he's also very expensive. Raya, another standout here, but he's also quite expensive. I've now got a new plot for you guys. We replace the bonus point system on the y-axis with the fixture difficulty rating from a defensive point of view. And we can see that Sanchez at Chelsea has the best fixtures, followed by Ederson at Man City. For defenders, we're looking at expected goals conceded per 90 against non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90. Trent is still the outlier, really good attacking data, and Liverpool have really good defensive data. He's by far the best defensive asset statistically, but he's also the most expensive. Robertson and Gvardiol, the next two best premium defenders based off this plot. And then in terms of more budget options, Hall, Robinson, Munoz, Milenkovic and Kirkez all look good in this plot too. If we look at which defenders have the best upcoming fixtures and attacking data, I'm actually using a combination of fixture difficulty and defensive strength on the left y-axis. So we can see the teams with a combination of the best fixtures, also the best defensive data, and then compare that to the players with the best attacking data. We can see here the Chelsea defenders have the best fixtures, with Gusto having the best expected goal involvement. Man City and Liverpool have the second and third best fixtures, with Gvardiol and Trent the standout options for them in terms of the attacking data. From the Arsenal lads, Saliba has overtaken Gabriel in terms of expected goal involvement, which is interesting. In terms of the budget options here, Hall again showing up well, and so are Milenkovic and Kirkez. On to the midfielders, we're looking at the bonus point system per 90 against non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90. Cole Palmer is the best option statistically, and Son now has the highest expected goal involvement after his goal and 2 assists against Southampton last week. He's really climbed up the rankings in recent game weeks, and Salah has dropped down from last week slightly, but still putting up amazing numbers. And then James Maddison, we pointed him out last week, then he's gone and gotten 2 goals against Southampton. Another one to point out here is Dango Utara at Bournemouth. He has amazing expected goal involvement per 90, but I think his low minutes are skewing the data as it's per 90. I'd expect his numbers to drop as he gets more playing time, but still worth keeping an eye on him going forward. When we replace the bonus point system with the fixture difficulty ratings for the attackers, we can see the Fulham lads coming out on top, Adama and Iwobi. Although Adama's data does look much better here, his minutes are more of a concern than Iwobi's. The Arsenal attackers look really good here too, especially Saka. For Man City, De Bruyne has really good data here, followed by Savio. Again, minutes are always going to be a concern with both of these guys, however. Down in the bottom right, we see Son, so his fixtures are quite poor, but his data is amazing, and he can pretty much score against anyone. He's fixture proof, so the fixtures aren't too much of a concern with him. On to the forwards, Haaland ranking first for non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90, but the rest of the forwards have caught up to him in recent weeks with Haaland's poor turn of form. He's certainly not doing enough to justify his price tag. We've already discussed Haaland in the attackers to target section, and he is skewing the price colouring system here, so let's remove him from the plot to get a better look at the rest of the forwards. In the top right are Wissa and Jackson, really good per 90 data from both of them. Isak and Watkins also showing up well here, and João Pedro doing really well for his price here. Let's look at their fixtures too. Raúl Jimenez at Fulham with the best upcoming fixtures, followed by Havertz, but his data doesn't look too inspiring. João Pedro with some nice upcoming fixtures with Brighton and good expected data to back it up too. On to captaincy, my number one pick this game week is Mo Salah against Spurs away. Spurs defence ranks 15th for expected goals conceded since game week 8, so they've not been great defensively due to all the injuries they've been getting, and above all else, Mo Salah is Mo Salah. In second, I have Isak against Ipswich away, really targeting the fixture here and also targeting the man in form. It writes itself really. Ipswich are one of the worst defences in the league this season, and Isak has 3 goals and 2 assists in his past 3 games. In third place, I have Palmer against Everton away. He would be higher on the list, but Everton have been putting up some good defensive numbers recently, and to be honest, this man could do damage against any defence. I have him in at third, followed by Saka against Palace away in fourth place. Palace are having a return to form recently, but I can just see Saka whipping in a few set pieces and causing trouble to the Palace defence. He's in at fourth. And finally in fifth, he almost didn't make the list to be fair, which is crazy to say, Erling Haaland against Aston Villa away. I think because of his poor form recently, because City are struggling, and then there's also how good Villa are defensively at home. They're the second best defence in the league at home based off expected goals conceded, so that makes me put Haaland in at 5th place there. On to my Game Week 16 review. A really good game week for me, to be fair. 64 points overall, a game week rank of 850k. Whenever you get in that game week rank of 1 million or less, you know you've had a good week. And I'm up to 440k overall, still nowhere near where we want to be at all. We're still aiming for that top 10k finish, but we're making steady progress. Lewis Hall with a fat 15 pointer here, 2 assists and a clean sheet. Gabriel with a 9 pointer from a clean sheet and 3 bonus points. I did get the captaincy wrong this week. It was between Salah and Palmer. Salah outscored Palmer by 2 points, so not the end of the world. Palmer did get a bonus point awarded 2 days after the game, which meant I won my cup matchup by 1 point, which is just sickening for the other lad. And then I had Jackson with a goal and Isak with a goal and an assist up top. But this game week had one defining moment which really ruined it for me. Mbeumo scoring against Sanchez in the 90th minute. Sanchez was on for 8 points and then Mbeumo was on for 2 points. He scores, he goes up to 10 points with the additional bonus points that he got. And of course, a lot of people have Mbeumo too, so a massive swing in rank for me there. But overall, we got a green arrow. Let's move on and look ahead at my Game Week 17 plans. I have already made a transfer. After ait-Nouri got sent off, I saw his price was going to drop and that I would lose value on selling him, so I popped an early transfer and got Timber in. It was between Timber and a cheap defender, but I saw what I could do with the extra funds in terms of upgrading my midfield options, and I didn't really fancy any of the options. So I went with Timber, and now I have the double up on the Arsenal defence and a triple up overall with Saka too. So I have triple Arsenal and triple Chelsea, which I am pretty happy about considering their upcoming fixtures. My other potential transfer plan, which I haven't done, is to change Rodgers or Semenyo for Iwobi, but it does feel like quite a sideways move. Semenyo has definitely been really annoying to own considering how many chances he gets, all the expected data he puts up, and then how few points he ends up with every week. But the main reason I'm happy to hold off on that transfer is because I have Lewis Hall against Ipswich away, who I would be benching for a Iwobi if I got him in, and I quite like the look of starting Hall here, especially if it saves me a transfer. Other than that, as you can see, I am captaining Isak this game week. I know I have him as the second best captain after Salah in my captaincy rankings, and most people will captain Salah, rightfully so, but I'm 440k, I need to chase rank, and when I look at the form this man is in, I'm willing to take a punt on him. Let's hope it pays off. Obviously, there are midweek games still to go, so anything can change given any injury news or suspensions. So follow me on Twitter at FPL Gallagher to see what I end up going with. That's all for today, folks. Drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and rate 5 stars on audio. Until next time, guys, have a good one.